Hey, heads up, you're blowing into your mic a lot. You're popping those peas.
Life happens everywhere. Like it never even happened, only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and servpro.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Every day in business starts with a number. Output, productivity, efficiency, all measured in numbers, because data drives decisions. And if fire or water damage strikes, the numbers for your business can slow, or even stop. Unless you know this one, 1-800-SERVPRO, the number one choice in commercial cleanup and restoration.
Hello everyone, welcome live to 3Y TV and the Hacksaw PC's premiere series. We are at Martinsville Speedway, and I'll tell you what, the sun is going down. That's right, the lights are going up here at Martinsville. Finally, night racing around the famed half-mile paperclip. I'm super excited to see what these American Sim Racing Series drivers can do here tonight, because you and I know, Greg, when the lights go on, the action always heats up, and it will be an awesome race here tonight. I'm Peter Short. Joining me in the booth is Greg Rance, Carlos Acosta, the man behind the cameras each and every week. And Greg, paperclip, short track racing, bumping and banging, little bit of everything here at Martinsville. What are you expected to see?
Exactly what you mentioned. A great race, a lot of bumping and banging, and some spectacular fireworks on and off the track at night here at Martinsville Raceway. One of the oldest, if not the oldest, track on the NASCAR Cup Series circuit. And these guys have been waiting a long time to be able to race under the lights here at this facility. And tonight, we finally get the opportunity for 200 laps.
Absolutely. 200 laps around this racetrack is an absolute slugfest. I'm sure cautions will be thrown here tonight. Last year in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series, though, we didn't see many cautions, especially on the Truck Series side of things. I think we only had one caution in that race, so maybe we'll have another night tonight like that and have a lot of green flag racing. I know that was a spectacular race all the way to the checkered flag, but we are in the practice session right now. Will Worsler, number 29 machine, is currently atop the board trying to bounce back from not the worst race last week at Dover, but it wasn't the best result. It was definitely very fast at Dover and ended up in a couple of accidents. John Jenkins sitting second on the board. He is the points leader. Greg Evans sitting in third. He's back in action here tonight. Grant Brown in fourth in practice. Good practice time for him. Alan Young rounding out the top five here. So very interesting to see just how close that top five is right now. Just 6/100ths of a second separating your top five. And Greg, that's something that you see a lot here at Martinsville. Just a lot of really close, tight times, and it can really make for an interesting qualifying session, because you and I know qualifying is really important here.
Especially in a series as competitive as the American Sim Racing Series, Peter, because this series is already one of the most tightly contested series on the iRacing server, and that's what makes it so much fun to be able to watch these guys compete, is how close the competition is. You take that level of tightness on the competition and throw it on a half-mile paperclip here in Martinsville, Virginia, and you've got all the makings for an outstanding race, and we're seeing it in practice already. One guy I'm keeping an eye on is a guy near the bottom of the top 10, Christopher Bouchard in the number 50. Remember, Peter, last time we were at a Virginia short track in Richmond, Virginia. He started on the pole and led virtually the entire first half of that race before he had an accident around halfway point that put him in the back of the field, and then was able to charge back up into the top 5 before another accident on a green-white checkered ended his night. But I'm keeping my eye on the 50 for some redemption here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. That number 50 always fast was not in last week's race, at least wasn't up there near the top. So definitely looking to have a little bit of a bounce back here tonight as the practice session has come to an end. We're going to go over into the 10-minute qualifying session here, but why don't we take a look at the current point standings here in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series to try and set the stage for tonight's Glassdoor Brewing 200. John Jenkins leading the points, like I said. Mitch Brown got the win last week in the Dirty Bird Sim Racing Dover 150. Got that checkered flag next to his name. First win on the season. Your reigning series champion closing in on John Jenkins just a little bit. Will Worcester sits in third. Tyler Seville sits fourth, the first driver without a win to his credit this year. Michael Krobach sitting in fifth, and you have Greg Evans in sixth, looking for another checkered flag next to his name. Boy, if he gets another win, then we're going to run out of space there under his name. Brian Yazek going to slot in seventh here tonight in points. Jimmy McKee, great run last week, getting a podium at Dover, 102 points off the lead. James Lorello will not be in tonight's race, actually. Lorello is serving a suspension, so that number 3 machine, unfortunately, not going to be turning around this racetrack here tonight. Christopher Bouchard rounds out your top 10, 114 markers behind John Jenkins. But we see these drivers starting to turn times here in the qualifying session, so we'll have to see what's going on. There's the number 99 of Clarence Bonner. A little bit of beef going on in the chat. We got Adam Hugland saying the 99 is slow. We'll see how slow Clarence Bonner is here on his second qualifying lap time, and it looks like he will be currently 9th out of the 12 drivers to take time. And there is the 50 of Bouchard here, and Bouchard already up there near the top of the board, sitting second there. Greg, definitely a driver to keep an eye on tonight.
Yeah, pole sitter at Richmond crosses the strike, but he was all kinds of squirrely, and that's going to cost him on the speed charts. But Peter, noticing right now as we sort our way through the early stages of the qualifying session, the driver who was fastest in practice, Will Worsler, is having connection issues right now as he is currently not in the server trying to get back in before qualifying. But Will Worsler, fastest in practice, his receiver throughput fell. So the fastest car in practice currently not in this session as we look at a new look on the number 18, one of Will Worsler's teammates. That is Doug Mullins, and that is a sharp-looking Slice Porcupine's Chevy.
Yeah, that is kind of like the Jeff Gordon Rainbow Warrior, but shades of purple and white as the primary color. So pretty cool looking scheme there. I really like the ferocity in those front headlights. If you can kind of see that outline around them, it really gives a mean look to that car. Pretty cool to see a new paint scheme this week on Doug Mullins' machine. We got Christopher rolling out onto the racetrack right now, the number 46 here. We got one of the Surf Pro machines. That would be David Washington coming out of turn number 4, trying to get that Surf Pro machine up near the front here tonight. He goes top of the charts in that number 89 machine. Great qualifying lap for David Washington. He's going to just pull it over to the side. That's one and done for him. I don't think he thinks he can get a better lap on lap number 2. He says, all right, well, I'll take it. And David Washington right now on the provisional pole. But here's another driver we have to keep an eye on here tonight. That's the number 83 machine, 4 wins on the season. Greg Evans headed down the backstretch into turn number 3 and 4. And you can just see there's a lot of straightaway here and a lot of braking here. That's really why they call it the paperclip. You just launch out of turn number 2, then
Peter,
launch out of turn number 4.
He tied David Washington for the pole right there, 19.347. It is a tie for the top of the charts right now.
Yeah, those two cars are so close. Looks like the live timing and scoring that we have might put them about 1/1000th of a second off. But boy, oh boy, they are very close. up at the current top of the charts to see what Jared Haggerty can do in the number 6 machine. No, it looks like Will Worcester, he got back in. That's good news for the Slice Porcupines Will Worcester Racing machine. Of course, he will work his way through turn number 1 and 2. Very, very fast last week at Dover International Speedway. Luck did not go his way. Currently, he has yet to turn a time. We'll see what he can do on his first time lap here in that number 29 machine. And he goes to the 5th position. So good run for Will there. Top 5. Here is last week's race winner, the 51 machine. And uh-oh, that's not what you want to see, Mitch. Mitch Brown going for a little bit of a spin there. Looks like he will be able to reset his Patriot Media and Marketing Services Toyota Camry. Try and go for a second run. There's Christopher, the number 46 machine, coming to the line. He's getting a little bit of extra practice laps in, as he has currently put his car 22nd. But boy, oh boy, Greg, qualifying here, always interesting, and at the top 1/1000th of a second.
Yeah, just so close in this qualifying session right now as you're watching Mitch Brown. Last week's winner is his first points-paying win of the season, but wasn't his first win of the season, Peter. He picked up a big win at Charlotte a few weeks ago.
He did. He got the American Sim Racing Series All-Star Invitational win and finally was able to back that up with a win on the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series last week. But we'll have to see whether or not he can win the Glassdoor Brewing 200 here tonight. There is a $25 prize, a winner's plaque, and a Glassdoor Brewing sampler pack on the line. Hit me up with some of that free beer, Mr. Crable, because free beer is always awesome, especially sampler packs. I love different varieties of beer. I actually got the brand new horchata stout. It's a pretty interesting tasting beer. Kind of got that horchata kind of taste to it. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's not quite a grandfather clock. No, not quite. But some pretty cool prizes on the line here tonight. And there's also kind of a bounty. If one of the Glassdoor Brewing family drivers wins, they also get an extra $25. So that'd be a $50 win. And that's not bad. You know, put that in your back pocket, something you don't have. And I've won a little bit of money playing iRacing before, and I'll tell you what, it always feels good to do so. As the 46 Stouffer there working his way around the racetrack. Adam Hoagland saying it was supposed to be motivation for the number 99 of Bonner. Well, unfortunately, that number 99 machine currently scored in 22nd, so not the worst it could be. But I'll tell you what, he will have to make up quite a few positions. Before we go green, we got about 2.5 minutes left here. Let's see if we can actually possibly get Jay Crable and see if we can have a quick word with him. Jay Crable, Peter Short, 3-Ride TV booth. You got a copy? Yeah, let's try that one more time. Jay Crable, Peter Short, 3-Ride TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey.
Hey, what's going on? Well, it's the Glassdoor Brewing 200 here tonight. We had the Glassdoor Brewing 250 back at Daytona to kick off the season, but now completely different racetrack, the short track. And I'll tell you what, Glassdoor Brewing set up a really good show for us here tonight. Tell us a little bit about the sponsor.
Yeah, so my dad, Jim Craybill, started this up back in 2015. A couple years before that, he was just kind of messing around and bought one of those cheap beer kits, and somehow it's ended up this where we're sponsoring races and the truck series. And you know, my dad, he doesn't do a lot of this anymore. He used to race in real life, so this is kind of his way to contribute to my racing, and he's put together quite the package here. Somebody could win quite a bit of money tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking about that if one of the Glassdoor Brewing family drivers wins, they get $50 with the plaque and the sampler pack. I'm most interested in that sampler pack. Tell us a little bit about the different brews that Glassdoor Brewing has.
Yeah, he's got quite a few. I don't know his whole selection. It's been quite a while. He actually lives out in Washington. I'm out in Iowa. But I know it's got one called Uncle Grandpa. That was one of his first beers, and it's an IPA. It was pretty light. It was really good. So you'll probably get an Uncle Grandpa if you win this race.
All right. Well, always nice to have an Uncle Grandpa, I'll tell you that much. But best of luck here tonight, Jay. How's the car driving out there?
Well, funny enough, Martinsville isn't one of our best tracks tonight, but we made the race on time today, so we didn't have to fall back in that provisional, and that was a win for me. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, best of luck here tonight, Jay, and 200 laps here for the Glassdoor Brewing 200.
Thanks, guys. Have a good broadcast.
All right. Well, that was the War Turtle Racing driver, Mr. Jay Crable. Of course, the Glassdoor Brewing 200 here tonight. And I know he's looking for a good run, needs a good run in the Glassdoor Brewing machine after not having a great run last week, 33rd back at Dover, and seeing if he can improve on that here tonight. But Greg, any other storylines to mention before jumping into tonight's race? I'm hearing something about maybe a classic mod that's coming along.
Yeah, a new series coming to the iRacing server. We got the word when Wilkesboro was announced that there may or may not be something going on, and during the iRacing NASCAR Pro Invitational race, it was confirmed that 2 retro Winston Cup cars from 1987, a Chevy Monte Carlo and a Ford Thunderbird, were coming to the iRacing server along with North Wilkesboro, and we already got the word that the ASRS will be having a throwback series that's going to hit tracks such as this one, Martinsville and Wilkesboro, and so on and so forth. So it is going to be a spectacular series, and we cannot wait to be involved in that. But Peter, the field is on the grid, so I think it's time to get ready for tonight's 200-lap Glassdoor Brewing 200.
Yep, let's set the field for you. Starting on the pole, David Washington turned 1 lap, and he shut her off, 1 and done. And on the pole, starting to his outside, winner of 4 races so far this year, Greg Evans in the number 83, sporting the duct tape colors on that car tonight. Starting in 3rd, Grant Brown, Patriot Media and Marketing Services machine, will be starting there. And to his outside, the MPI number 7 of John Jenkins, kind of a new MPI scheme for that car. Cool looking paint scheme, I gotta say, here for the light. Starting in 5th will be the number 29 of Will Worcester, and to his outside, the 73 of Jonathan Holstein. Great qualifying run for that number 73 machine. Starting on row number 4, the number 50 of Christopher Bouchard. Got to keep an eye on him. We mentioned him a couple times in the pre-race. And to his outside, Alan Young, who is needing a good run here tonight to try and secure a 20th spot, make sure that he will be in each and every week of these races. Michael Krobach and Mark Cohn round out your top 10.
Jordan Harnish inside of row number 6 in the 11th spot. To his outside, the new look Doug Mullins in the number 18. Woody Mahan, Michael Whiting making up row number 7. Adam Jersky and Jason Stewart to the inside. Jersky had a great run at Talladega a few weeks ago. Jimmy McKee, a new look for him as well. Looks like he's paying tribute to Jim Booth on that one. But Mitch Brown, last week's winner, to his outside. Happy birthday, Jim, as Jimmy McKee paying tribute to the birthday man. And series director Travis McDaniel and Shane Parrish round out the top 20.
Tyler Seville, Clarence Bonner make up row number 11. Row number 12, the number 46 of Chris Stouffer, and the 34 of Kelsey Rogers. Behind them, row number 13, Tim Knott and Brian Yazik. Not quite the qualifying run for that number 55 that we typically see. Row number 14, the 02 of Sam Crow and Jake Douglas. Row number 15, Troy Haight, Richard Stallings. Then behind him, 31st, Jay Crable, Pete Baskins, 32nd, Ethan Adams, and Jared Haggerty, 33rd, 34th, 35th, John Broussard. But we're about to go green. Can't quite get to the last few cars, but the green flag is in the air, and it is led by David Washington. Good start to the outside by Greg Evans. In fact, Evans is going to race him off into turn number 1. Might get the lunch coming out of turn number 2. Looks like he just almost cleared the number 89 machine, but Washington battling back on the inside. I'm just surprised with how strong that number 83 machine is able to hold around the outside. Of course, fresher tires, that will help try and prevent the wheel spin up off the corner, but now looks like Washington has got that spot, Greg.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more the outside lane in Martinsville is really beginning to become just as strong as the inside lane, but Washington proving there that the inside still holds true as he jumps out after Evans led the first lap in the duct tape number 83. So it's 2 green cars and we're caution already.
caution is already been thrown here. Looks like there might have been a little bit of a scuffle coming out of turn number 4. Not quite sure what happened there. Looks like a couple of cars might have been 2 separate incidents here. Possibly Travis McDaniel in the number 65 and Clarence Bonner in the number 99, both having a little bit of issue, but separate from one another. Let's see if we can get this on replay. So there's the number 65 of McDaniel. And coming out of the corner, I don't know if it was just too much beans. Kind of looked like it. Both of the cars just a little bit too much on the gas and went right around and into the inside wall. Pretty easy to do, Greg, here at this racetrack. Just get a little bit of wheel spin and it just goes away from you.
Yeah, it's so common at this facility, Peter, like you mentioned, and there we see it one more time on the replay. And unfortunately, it's common as it is at Martinsville, and it could lead to more and more throughout the course of the day. I don't think we've seen the last of that exact situation here so far this evening, as it is still very, very early on. Just 4 laps complete, working lap 5 right now. So I don't think we're done seeing that situation.
I don't think we are either. Travis McDaniel is going to take the number 65 machine down pit road to get some of his damage repaired. Looks like he's having a little bit of a difficult time finding his pit box. Actually, he might have gone past his pit box. No, there we go. He finally found it just past the start-finish line. But I'll tell you what, this racetrack, cautions breed cautions. And now having the first one of the race this early on is going to be hopefully not a precursor to the remainder of this race, because you and I know these caution laps do take quite a while. We do have someone in the chat, James Lorello, of course, not racing here tonight, did get a DQ from this race, essentially, was not able to enter based off of some previous accidents. They do have a strike penalty rule here in the American Sim Racing Series, so unfortunately he's sitting out tonight, but he does wish good luck to all the drivers and says he will be back next week. Looking forward to that, Mr. Lorello. And of course next week we do have the American Regardless race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Looking forward to that. American Regardless jumping on board for the sponsor, but the pace truck is headed onto pit road. We're going to go back to Green Flag Racing. David Washington leading the way in the Surf Pro machine. He gets a better jump than he did at the start of the race this time. He's going to clear Greg Evans going off into turn number 1, but Evans just sails it off into the corner. Maybe he sailed it a little bit too much, because here comes John Jenkins to his inside.
Yeah, Jenkins and Evans, 2 of the strongest cars in the series all year long. Jenkins the points leader, and Greg Evans the most wins on the year. 1 car getting loose behind him. I believe that was Bouchard in the 50, yes, as he gathers it back up and lost the spot, I believe, to the 52 of Grant Brown. No, he was already being scored behind him, but Bouchard with a big save there early, as Will Worsler now is also able to work his way around Greg Evans. So Greg Evans tracking in the wrong direction, back to 4th right now, but points leader John Jenkins, he's moving in the right direction. He has gone from 4th to 2nd. Will Worsler from 5th to 3rd.
Yeah, fantastic start for the number 7 machine to get into the top 2. We'll have to see whether or not he can close in on David Washington, but another caution has been thrown. This time it appears it is possibly once again out of turn number 4. Can't quite see what through this caution. Looks like they got the ship righted very quickly, because I can't see anything here. We'll have to see if we can find anything on the 3-wide TV replay. But looks like the whole field's still rolling out there, so that's good news. Don't see any major damage on any of the cars. Looks like maybe Jake Douglas has a little bit of nose damage, but that might be from something separate. We're still just trying to find it, but unable to find exactly what brought out the yellow. So luckily all these drivers still out there. Not any major damage from this one. Can report Travis McDaniel in the number 65 machine. Let's see if maybe this is what brought it out. No, doesn't look like it. Oh, up ahead, somebody got really sideways. And yeah, let's see if we maybe can go on board with the number 22 here, Michael Whiting, and see what happened to throw the yellow, because maybe iRacing just shot the gun a little bit too soon. A little bit of a false start on that. Getting word that it might have been Doug Mullins who might have had an accident. And the number 18 Slice Porcupine's machine, here we go. Finally figured out what this was. Ooh, a little bit of help from the 73 of Jonathan Holstein. Fantastic save, but it did bring out the yellow flag, so he was completely skewed out, but a really good save there, Greg.
Yeah, fantastic save by Doug Mullins in the number 18 there. Unfortunately, 18 was just enough to bring out a caution. You see right there, one more look at it. Outstanding save there by Doug Mullins in the 18 after the contact with Jonathan Holstein. So things have been sorted out. Looks like they are sending both drivers to the back as the caution was out, which means hopefully we'll be back racing momentarily.
Did want to report Travis McDaniel 7 laps down after having the first caution of the night. I'm sure he will be a bit disappointed with that. Hopefully he can come back and make up some of those laps. I believe he will make up one under this caution, being the lucky dog. But the pace truck lights are off. We're going to go back to green flag action here in just a lap. Kind of a chaotic start to this race here at Martinsville. It is a very difficult racetrack, and one of the things that makes this racetrack so difficult is braking. Every driver here has a slightly different brake marker, and if you're following a car a little bit too closely and that car in front slams on the brake, well, you're going to make contact with that car. So hopefully we don't see any more of that, as we're going to see the green flag wave once more. 89 of Washington gets to a huge start, but here comes Jenkins. Boy, oh boy, Jenkins shot down to the inside groove. Shut the door on Will Warser in the number 29 machine, trying to get up into third to get around the 83 of Greg Evans. Evans just keeps restarting on the outside groove, sliding back and back and back. He's going to slot in behind the number 29 machine. But a caution flag is back out in the air, and it's 2 cars around in turn number 3 and 4. Jake Douglas and Ethan Adams in the 88 both have come to a halt. They finally get back rolling, but a caution flag once again in the air, Greg.
And unfortunately here, we take a look at the replay. There was some contact there between the 49 and I believe that was the 02 that he got together with Sam Maxwell. New scheme on the 02, but I think it was contact between those two that started that one, Peter.
Yeah, that would be the 02 of Sam Crow. But yes, definitely a little bit of contact there between Sam Crow and the 02 and the 49 of Jake Douglas. But boy, oh boy, third caution, I believe, here in the early going. But we're going to step away for just a brief moment, have a quick word from the sponsors here in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series, and we'll be right back to the Glassdoor Brewing 200.
Life happens everywhere. Like it never even happened, only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Glassdoor Brewing 200, still under the yellow flag here. We have now completed 20 of the 200 laps here tonight. Just 180 laps to go for these drivers, but the Chevy Silverado pace truck's been out there for quite a few of them, led the most laps so far. But I'll tell you what, I do believe we'll get some green flag running in here. These drivers are very capable of green flag running here at the short track. That is Martinsville, the famed paperclip. Everyone talks about the hot dogs whenever you come here. Supposedly they're really, really good. I've never had a Martinsville hot dog in my life, but that is something on my bucket list to try. I'd love to come to this little racetrack up in Virginia. And now they have the night race, yeah. So pretty darn cool.
Yeah, Peter, I think we need to take a 3-wide TV road trip here to Martinsville one of these days. I'm sure Carlos and the production truck would love to hang out with us as well, but we're going back racing here, Peter. We're going back underway. We're going to try this again.
Yep, David Washington in the number 89 machine, still your race leader so far. He's led every single lap around this half-mile racetrack. And oh boy, it gets really tight going into turn number 1. Jenkins had to take some evasive maneuver. Worsler went up the racetrack a little bit, almost opened the door for Grant Brown in the number 52 machine. But they sort things out up at the front, a little bit of an accordion effect, and the caution flag is back in the air. There's a big melee on the backstretch. Boy, oh boy, it's a parking lot back there.
Oh my goodness, what happened there? We got Troy Haight involved. I see, believe the 49, one of the Will Worsler cars, or that's 43, Richard Fletcher, my apologies. But here, let's take a look at what happened.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see what happened there. The 99, Clarence Bonner getting into it a little bit as well. Let's see if we can see what happened from the aerial cam. Looks like the number 87 to the inside of Clarence Bonner, and oh man, I don't know if the 99 was trying to avoid the 28 machine, because I saw Stouffer up ahead in the 46 machine get all up out of shape. I think it happened a little bit further up. Here we go. Let's see what happened with Stouffer in the 46. Oh, it looks like he got loose into the side of the 55. Oh yeah, Troy Haight, absolutely nowhere to go. Brad Lee there in the 14, nowhere to go. Look at the 18 of Mullins. He's been involved in 2 accidents here tonight in the Sliced Porcupines machine here in the early going. I think that just all started with the 46 getting loose out of turn number 2.
That's a tough shame, Peter, and that's just the product of racing here at Martinsville. We're already under our 4th caution of the day, and cautions breed cautions. We say it time and time again, but boy, it is tried and true here at Martinsville, and it is a case of that here.
Great save by Brian Yazik in the number 55 machine, because he got doored by the 46 and was able to keep going. The 6 of Jared Haggerty, significant amount of damage on that Toyota. They sawn off the rear bumper of that car. Troy Haight, runner-up, finished last week at Dover International Speedway. He's missing a hood in that P&N water filter Chevy Camaro. That is not good news for him. Clarence Bonner, significant damage on both the front and rear ends of that number 99 machine. Nowhere to go. They're all fighting to stay on the lead lap. As you see, the 99 of Bonner just beat the pace truck out onto the racetrack, so he will be on the lead lap still, I do believe. Brad Lee in the number 14 machine, he's dropping to the back of the field. I think he might have come down a closed pit road. So a couple of cars receiving some significant damage there, and Travis McDaniel in the number 65 machine, he's no longer eligible for the Lucky Dog because there are now multiple cars in front of him who are a lap down, including Lee Staples in the step tire Chevy Camaro, Clarence Bonner, of course, in the Glassdoor Brewing machine, Bradley in that number 14. So we got 35 cars on the lead lap out of the 40 that started here tonight, but pace car lights are off, so we'll re-rack them and do it again. See if we can get a couple of green flag laps in here. I think once we got that green flag feel, once we got that green flag run in, Greg, I think it will just start to, sort itself out. We'll get some green running, and we just have to get in a couple laps as the green flag is in the air. David Washington really led them down to the green nice and slow, and look at what that's going to do for the number 7 of Jenkins. What's happened to Jenkins? I don't know if he got packed in the rear or what, but he's going to go well back in from 3rd all the way back to the midfield. A lot
of damage on the back of that 7 car. I think he got a shot in the back possibly. Right there, Greg Evans. He missed the shift on the start, and Greg Evans plowed into the back of the number 7 of Jenkins. So nowhere for Evans to go there, but boy, John Jenkins missing a shift on the start, and Greg Evans nowhere to go, and suddenly the number 7, who was showing a lot of speed early, is now going to have to work his way through. That's your points leader, by the way, Peter.
Yeah, from that onboard replay, it looks like he didn't just miss one shift. Looks like he might have missed 2 shifts in that number 7 machine. He finds himself now down in the 18th position, so we'll have to keep an eye on whether he can bounce back from that one. But that has allowed the front 2 to get away just a little bit. David Washington still leading over Will Worsler. Sitting in 3rd position is Grant Brown in the number 52. He's got some damage from that restart as well. Meanwhile, Alan Young in the number 24 machine came into tonight 18th spot in points. He is up to 4th in that 24 car. Greg Evans now back to 5th. He's got a lot of front end damage from running into the rear of the number 7 machine. Bouchard now sitting in 6th. Woody Mahan in 7th. Mitch Brown 8th. Jordan Harnish 9th. And Adam Jersky is now in the 10th
second
spot.
place, Will Worsler around. Caution is out.
And that was the 2nd place car, ladies and gentlemen. The number 29 of Will Worsler has gone around here on the front stretch. And you can see that turn number 4 is pretty treacherous on even fairly fresh tires. It's treacherous. It just got the curbing down there, it looked like on that replay. And boy, when you hit that curbing, it can really upset the race car. It just upsets the entire balance. The shock package is having to do a lot of work, the springs, and they just don't have enough time to equilibrate, and sends the car for a spin right around. So Will Worsler, he's going to have to go to the back here, folks, and all of a sudden, some of the key contenders up at the front of the field in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series, now all the way in the back. So pretty interesting to see them come through the field throughout this race, also taking a lick in that inside retaining wall in that number 29 machine. So hopefully he can come down pit road and get that repaired. There you see him going around the racetrack right now, but the pace truck lights are still on. Great to see Hacksaw Gaming PCs in the chat. Of course, the series sponsor for this year's Premier Series. Pretty cool to see that. And Kathy in the chat as well. So make sure you make yourself heard and see if we can play the same game that we played last week. Christopher Bouchard won this game twice last week, and the question was, how many laps will they make it until another caution comes out? So that is the question for the chat. Bouchard didn't race last week, so he was able to get that question right twice. But we'll see if someone in the chat can get it this time round here at Martinsville. But the pace truck lights up at the front continue to twinkle. And that means we're still a couple laps away from going green. Still some cars headed down pit road with significant amounts of damage. Just trying to get as much of that damage repaired as possible. Did look like we had a lucky dog. Might have been Troy Haight in the number 28 machine, but not 100% sure if that is true or not. Troy Haight currently being scored in 34th in the number 28 machine. Still missing a hood on that car. There he is. And he's going to let a couple of cars by here. It looks like he might be the lucky dog, because that might be his end of longest line penalty that he has to serve. Let all the cars by. But the pace truck lights are off here, Greg, and we're going to see if we can go back to green flag.
All right, we'll try it again. And one thing I've been noticing is David Washington gets such a big restart that he almost sets himself up to be a sitting duck if the guys behind him can reel him in real quick when he has to slow down. So I'm curious how that's going to unfold. He's been lucky that it's been quick cautions ever since then. But here we go. We're going to try it again. And much easier restart that time for Washington as he stays kind of intact there. Contact between Alan Young and Grant Brown. Brown washes up the track. Move Alan Young into second place early.
Yeah, great job there by Alan Young to take advantage of that situation, get himself up into the top two. Let's see this restart from the helicopter cam. And there was the green flag. You saw that the number 52 just kind of had a nose out in front of the 89, and the 52 was about a groove up. And there might have been a little bit of neck code there, but the number 24, Alan Young, definitely stuck his nose in there. And now the 52 of Grant Brown is back in the 5th position in that car. And Woody Mahan, great run for him so far in the number 84 machine. He's sitting in 6th. great run for him as the sun continues to set and caution is out. I think we made it 2 laps. So we'll have to see if we play Price is Right rules and see if we can figure out who won. But we'll have to see what happened here on the replay to bring out the caution. We'll take a peek at the chat here in just a second. It looks like I'm not seeing any. Oh, the 88 there, Ethan Adams going around. That's probably what brought out the caution, folks. And the 65, Travis McDaniel, might have been involved again in that car. He definitely has the most damage out of everyone on the racetrack. Oh, look at Haggerty down there on the bottom of the racetrack. He was 3 wide going off into turn number 1, and Jay Crable in the 87 on the top side, and the 88 they're getting together. Ooh, Richard Fletcher there just adding a few extra scrapes to the side of the number 88 machine. Let's go on board with Jay Crable. Now, I wonder if Jay realized he was 3 wide at this point. You know, it's kind of difficult when you have the number 6 down there on the inside groove. You just can't see him as the race car driver with your field of view. Might not have known he was 3 wide there going off into the corner. But regardless, Greg, 3 wide at Martinsville is usually not a good thing.
No, it rarely works out, Peter. So it'll be definitely interesting to see how these drivers react to another caution here. But we're going to take a quick break here on 3Y TV and pay the bills, as they like to say, and we will be right back here at Martin.
Every day in business starts with a number. Output, productivity, efficiency, all measured in numbers, because data drives decisions. And if fire or water damage strikes, the numbers for your business can slow or even stop. Unless you know this one, 1-800-SERVPRO, the #1 choice in commercial cleanup and restoration.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Alright folks, welcome back to the Glassdoor Brewing 200. Pace truck lights have stopped twinkling, but I'll tell you what, it won't be too long and we'll start to see the stars twinkling over Martinsville Speedway. Pretty cool to see it here at night. Of course, the real-life NASCAR Cup cars will be hopefully getting to run Martinsville at night for the first time this year, but we get to do it here in the American Sim Racing Series as the green flag is back in the air, and David Washington so far leading every single lap, leads us to the start-finish line once again. And I'll tell you what, side by side for a second, here comes the 83 of Greg Evans, and it's been kind of a roller coaster, kind of an up-down night for the number 83 in the top 5, but he's got himself back up into the 2nd spot. We'll have to see if he can close in on Washington up there in the number 89 machine. We've got 1 lap in here under the green flag run. I think the closest driver, the closest person in the chat, I think was Ann Cappy. I think we got 2 green flag laps in if we're playing Price is Right rules. Can't go over in the Price is Right rules, so I think that one's unofficial. But we'll have to see if things sort out here as we're side by side now a little bit further back. Ben's battle for the 5th position between the 52 and the 84 of Mahan. Mahan on the outside. Like I said a little bit earlier, great start for him. Great run so far. Solidly up there inside the top 6. And caution flag has been thrown once again. We'll have to see possibly what caused this one. Looks like it might have been another small little accident as the field has once again sorted themselves out. Not seeing anything here on the replay just yet.
Oh, there we go. Seen in one of the Pro cars. I believe that's the 81 of Parrish.
Yeah, the 81 of Shane Parrish and the 73 of Jonathan Holstein, and that's not what Holstein wanted to see. He had a fantastic start in that number 73 machine. Started inside the top 10 in the 6th position, and now he's back in 32nd. Christopher nowhere to go in the 46. Looks like he's lost his front bumper. Luckily, you don't need much aerodynamics here at Martinsville Speedway, since it is a pretty slow racetrack. But you know, you do want to keep your car as nice and neat as you can. You see on board with Stouffer right here, tries to get on the brakes, and boink, just off the nose of the number 73 machine. That will lose your front bumper. Still has a hood though, so that's good news for that Coca-Cola machine. But right now, that number 89 machine up at the front, still leading the way. Great qualifying run for David Washington, got the pole. And I was corrected by my producer. He actually didn't lead the first lap. The first lap went to the number 83 machine of Greg Evans when he was around the outside line. But after that, it's all been David Washington. Do you have a couple of cars on pit road? Greg, we do have tire limits here in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. They do have 2 sets of tires on pit road that they can use here tonight. So that'll be a little bit of pit strategy that I'm sure will come into play. It's like a lot of these drivers electing to save those tires for later. Of course, we probably have only got about 20 to 25 green flag laps on those tires here in the early going. So that's probably one of the reasons why they haven't come down pit road yet. Does look like we have a lucky dog, and that's going to go to Travis McDaniels. So he will now only be 7 laps down, folks. So that's good news for Travis. Getting one of those laps back. Will he be back on the lead lap by the end of the race? Question for the chat. Will Travis McDaniel get 7 laps back through Lucky Dogs? I don't think he will, but he might get close. He might get close.
It'll definitely be interesting, but we are having a rough go of it here. Today's race is brought to you by Glassdoor Brewing and the color yellow, as we are under, I believe, our 6th caution of the race already here. Possibly more, possibly less. I think we've already lost track here in the 3YTV booth, but we're going to try things once again with the Serve Pro number 89. David Washington up front has led all but 1 lap, and now the front row is a mirror image to how this one started, Peter, with Washington on the inside and Greg Evans to his outside.
Yeah, Greg Evans in that number 83 machine. We've seen how fast he can be this season, but we actually have extended the caution flag a lap. The race officials starting to see a little bit of chaos happening in the back. No accidents, I think we're just not lined up back there, so they're going to throw the yellow so they can get properly lined up back there. I gotta say, that's a good call, because if they're not lined up properly, you're just going to have to clear black flags, and no official wants to have to do that. So we'll line them up once more, and the pace truck lights will be extinguished once again. You see a couple of pit road guys back there on the backstretch, just checking things out there right by the blue cone. Back in the day, Martinsville had a backstretch pit. You can pit on the backstretch, had a backstretch pits. Can't use my words very well here tonight, but the green flag is back in the air here at Martinsville Speedway. The number 89 machine leading the way. David Washington once again gets a good restart. I got to keep an eye, Greg, on that number 24 machine that is sitting in the 3rd position right now. So far, so good for him, needing a strong run here tonight. And track position is so important here. This might be his night.
Peter, you're keeping an eye on the 24, who's doing an outstanding job. I'm keeping my eye on one of the Glassdoor Brewing entries. Mitch Brown has already crept his way up into the top 10. Last week's winner in the 51 is up in the 9th position now. There you see him in turn 3, riding in the 9th position. Got around our points here, John Jenkins, but he does, very similar to last week, have damage on the rear bumper of that 51 car. So he's making progress, but it hasn't been an easy go for the 51 as well, as we try to get things settled down. Single file through about the top 10 right now. Washington continues to lead the way. Here you see, I believe this is our first side-by-side battle. As I say it, caution comes out.
Caution flag is out once again, and a couple of cars slow going through turn number 3 and 4. I think that's kind of where it happened, but I get all sorted out. Let's see if we can see exactly what happened here once again. As we're working another caution flag But yeah, Mitch Brown in the number 51 machine definitely has quite a bit of damage on that glass door brewing machine. But like we said a little bit ago, damage doesn't really matter here at this racetrack all too much. Let's see if we can see what happens. Ooh, the 41 of Tim Knott in the 11 machine. Tyler Seville doing his Casey Kane impression up there on the outside retaining wall. And that's not very good, folks. That's going to be a little bit of damage for the number 11 machine, as well as Tim Knott. There you go. Oof, man, sandwich up into that wall. Just rode that outside wall for a little bit. Finally came back down to earth. Hopefully the number 11 machine isn't too badly damaged. Same with the number 41. Of course, Tim Knott in that 41 machine right there on the inside. Don't really know exactly how this happened. There might have been a little bit of net code there, Greg, between those two cars that kind of locked him together and started to launch the number 11 up into the outside retaining wall.
Yeah, possibly, and that's not the first time we've seen that tonight, Peter. We've seen that code already once tonight, so it's unfortunate that we have that situation, as it looks like Jake Crable is going to be the lucky dog. There he is going by. I talked to him in the pre-race with Glassdoor Brewing on the hood of that race car. I was not aware Glassdoor Brewing is in my home state of Washington, so I may have to get in touch with the Crables and see where exactly I can find some of those products in the Spokane area. As I am over the age of 21, it is perfectly legal, and I want to know more about this company, knowing now that it is in Washington State, which is my home state.
Well, it's a good night for the Washingtons, because Washington is leading in the 89 machine, of course, in the ServPro machine. Of course, ServPro is a sponsor of the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. They do have the ServPro Wheelman Showdown. We have had 5 of those races, championship within a championship, and pretty cool to have the ServPro Wheelman Showdown, the first 4 races, excuse me, as race number 5 will be at Michigan International Speedway on June 9th. The winner of that series actually gets a steering wheel, hence the Wheelman Showdown. So pretty cool to have them as a series sponsor alongside Hacksaw PCs, of course, the series sponsor for this year. But the pace truck lights are off once again, and the pace truck dives onto pit road, puts the race back in the hands of David Washington. And Washington, Greg, I've been noticing he has been alternating where he gets his foot on the throttle, and here he goes early. He's been messing around with that because he doesn't want to get too predictable here at Martinsville. Sometimes he goes early, sometimes he goes really late, sometimes he really slows down the field. And here he's able to jump out to a good lead going off into turn number 1, leaving the number 83 machine in the dust just a little bit. But Greg Evans isn't going anywhere because he's only got about a car length in between himself and now not even that as they work their way through turn number 1 and 2. A little bit further back, we got some side-by-side action back there. That's back around Mitch Brown in the number 51 machine and the 7 of John Jenkins. And Jenkins, remember, he was all the way back to around the 20th spot. I think he fell down to 19th after missing a couple shifts. He's back inside the top 10, doing battle with the number 71 of Adam Jersky. And one thing I'm noticing about this number 7 machine, he's making passes around the outside, Greg.
And we talked about that a little bit in the early stages because we saw what Greg Evans was able to do on the outside on the initial start of this race. The outside lane here at Martinsville historically has been pretty much the no-go zone. You don't want to go there if your life depended on it. But apparently, over the last few years, something has happened to that outside lane because more and more now we're starting to see more and more drivers begin to make moves on the outside, Peter. So we're starting to slowly see this turn into a possible 2-lane racetrack before too long as the field sorts its way through here. We're working lap number 69 of 200, coming to start lap number 70. David Washington, of course, has led all but one race, but he had a big slide there off of turn number 4. That allows Greg Evans to get up there right now to his back bumper. Alan Young still in third, and we talked about him a couple of times having a great run in that number 24. And Peter, Alan Young has had a few great runs over the last few weeks, just hasn't had the results to be able to put it all together up there, as something seems to strike late with him quite a bit. So it's good to see him having another strong run, and no doubt looking to finish it strong here today in that 24.
Oh yeah, for sure. Had an 11th place run last week at Dover International Speedway, but really trying to break into the top 5 and get a strong showing because, you know, that 20th spot in points is oh so important. He's been flirting with that spot for the past couple of weeks, currently sitting 18th in points. And if you don't know, the Hacksaw PC's top 20 is locked into the show. So if you're outside of the top 20, you have to race your way in, and that's pretty difficult. We had 3 drivers who actually did not make tonight's show. 2 drivers were alternates, and 1 driver just didn't qualify on time at all. So that's important. Very, very important to be up there in points.
Yeah, and track position right now also being so key at this facility. Speaking of things that are important, because we've seen so many yellows. I think we've already, with this green flag run, reached the longest green flag run. And I can tell you one thing we just did for the first time. We just had the first time that the leaders are in lap traffic. Ty Hester, the first car to go 1 lap down under green here on lap number 75, as the top 2 snaking their way through, with David Washington and Greg Evans. Next up will be, I believe, the 53 of John Broussard. Or actually, no, that is the 88 of Ethan Adams, who's already a lap down after being caught up in an incident. But they are finally beginning to catch the tail end of the field for the first time today, as Greg Evans gets a good run there through turns 1 and 2, as Washington continues to lead. But he has done a fantastic job in that number 89 of, like you mentioned on that restart, being unpredictable. It's helped him out. He's gotten some big starts. He's gotten some easy starts and been really able to keep them guessing behind him. But Greg Evans, now that we're actually able to get some laps clicked away, now we're starting to see what that 83 car has, and it is showing a lot of speed right now.
Yeah, he's just poking his nose down the straightaways and showing the number 89, hey buddy, I want to take the lead here. He did it a couple laps ago, and I think he's just biding his time in that number 83 machine. Still a long way to go, 123 laps to be exact. Do want to highlight a couple drivers involved in accidents. Oh, Ty Hester is going around, and that is right there near the front of the field. Caution flag is in the air, and I do believe that was the 24 and the 36 getting together, and that could be an end of longest line penalty for the number 24 machine. Just dove it in there, gave a little bit of a nudge to the rear end of the 36 machine, and the caution flag is in the air. Bad news for Ty Hester. He will not be receiving the lucky dog. He was multiple laps down, so now he will be 2 laps down in that Glassdoor Brewing Toyota Camry, and he will be stuck there presumably. But we have a bunch of cars headed down pit road. Pit road is going to be a crazy, crazy time for a whole bunch of pit crews, because there's a whole bunch of cars on it right now, and it's not an easy pit road to get onto. As you see this accident replay one more time. Right there, just that nudge sent the number 36 machine for a half spin, just enough to bring out the caution flag here in Martinsville. And it seems like the caution flag gets thrown pretty easy. David Washington will win the race off pit road, beating the number 83 of Greg Adams. Have to see if any drivers elected to stay out. Indeed they did. Jonathan Holstein, Jared Haggerty, Troy Haight, and Jay Cradle are currently out there on the racetrack. A lot of those cars have already made a pit stop in this race, so they're trying to do an off-strategy move to gain a little bit of track position. Alan Young in the number 24 machine is being shown a black flag, an end of longest line penalty, not a disqualification, but an end of longest line penalty for that contact. So he will lose all that track position, Greg, and we were talking about it just a little bit ago.
Yeah, and track position has proven to be so important here. That's a tough break for Alan Young, of course, who is having such a strong run. But Peter, one thing I was wondering here, the amount of caution laps that we've had so far, does that mean that these drivers who have already pitted, are they still pretty good on tire wear? Because I've been wondering, we have not put a whole lot of abuse on those tires because of so many caution flags, that these guys who stayed out, they might not be in too bad a shape on tires. They might be able to stay up front for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, track position is so important here at Martinsville. We have seen, though, that this racetrack is a little bit loose. It is a little bit slippery, and slightly older tires will, of course, affect that. And so it'll be interesting to see. But personally, if you're in the top 5, definitely that was your time to pit. You've reached the 1/3 race distance. You have 3 sets of tires, including the ones you start on, two fresh sets on pit road. So you've made 1/3 of the race on your first set, jump over to the second set to get the second third of the race, and then presumably at some point later you'll get that third set. But we'll have to see how it all pans out, especially for this driver right here. Jonathan Holstein qualified the race in 6th. He has pace in the Spotted Cow Brands number 73 machine, and we'll have to see whether or not he can stay ahead of the hard-charging number 89 machine and company, because Jonathan Holstein is your race leader over Jared Haggerty. Remember, Haggerty was involved in that big pileup we had on the backstretch about 50 laps ago or so. Troy Hay also missing a front hood, and he's got the number 89 of David Washington all over his rear bumper. Things are not working out well for Greg Evans. He's boxed in that number 83 duct tape machine, getting passed right now by
second place, Jared Haggerty.
Is around. No caution.
No caution, and he's able to get it going again. And I'm surprised we did not see a caution there, because he was sitting in a pretty bad spot there. If someone tries a lower exit off of turn number 2, that could spell disaster, but it works out. As here we see it on the replay, going for the lead and hit the curb, and just a long slide. But he was not sitting in a good spot, but he was able to keep it away from everybody. Good top there. Now the caution comes out.
Yeah, the number 1 machine of Jason Stewart has gone around in turn number 2, the checkered flag PC's machine. Really cool scheme. I love the bright blue and the bright green, and ooh, maybe a little bit of contact there. And in fact, a lot of contact there with the number 29 machine of Will Worsland. So possibility of possibly running up against the strike limit, Greg, for the number 29 machine if this accident's called on him. And ooh, man, he sent it in there into turn number 1 and might have hit the brakes just a little bit too late and washed up the racetrack into the left rear quarter panel of the number 1.
And that's just a product of short track racing right there. You're so tight, you're boxed in. It's almost like a cage match, Peter, like a cage fight. You're just so close to your competitors that you barely have any room. And there you see on board with the number 1 just riding along and trying to keep it clean, and next thing you know, you're going around. And that's, again, just what happens when you have so many cars so close together on such a short track like this. Just 0.53 miles, just over a half mile, the shortest track on NASCAR's calendar that they hit every year. And especially under the lights here, it's that added pressure, and everyone wants to be that first under the lights winner here in the ASRS series. So we knew it was going to be an interesting race, and it has most definitely proved up to be that, as it has been a rough go for some drivers here, as Jonathan Holstein, the first driver not in a green car to lead the way right now. But I'm curious how much longer that's going to last, because he has a lot of damage on the back, and he's got the hard charging David Washington to his outside on the restart. But by the way, Peter, look who's up into the 3rd place. Who was the guy that I said before the race had a shot to make some noise here at a Virginia short track?
Yeah, absolutely. Christopher Bouchard in that number 50 machine was oh so fast at Richmond. Now trying to show that speed not too far away in Martinsville, Virginia. There he is. Great looking race car. I love the looks of the number 50, especially under the lights. It's got that kind of color chrome finish on it. Just really pops on these racetracks. And I've been noticing quite a few drivers, especially for these night races, are using those spec maps to add just an extra pop to their cars. Same thing with like the number 52 Grant Brown, the number 7 machine John Jenkins. Woody Mahan's got kind of that color chrome purple on the 84 car. It's really cool to see. It's awesome that iRacing has added those spec maps. And we also have some drivers in the field, like the number 1 machine of Jason Stewart, running checkered flag PC on the hood. He's got a matte finish on that race car. So pretty cool to see that. Do want to make note for all you Jason Stewart fans out there, doesn't look like there's any damage on that car. Maybe his ego might be hurt just a little bit after being spun. I'll tell you what, he's down in 25th. We'll see see if he can work his way back up through the field, but the green flag is back in the air. Jonathan Holstein is back underway and leads us off into turn number 1. David Washington way up the racetrack. He tried to pack it in underneath the number 73 machine, but he got shot way up the racetrack, and caution flag is out. There's a whole bunch of cars slowed down in turn number 2. Don't see anyone around. We'll have to see if we can go back and see if we can sort this out, but caution flag is back in the air. Getting word that Will Worsler has taken the number 29 machine to the garage here tonight, so that's a tough break for him. Showing a lot of pace.
Down here. And others.
So back under the caution flag, getting word that it was Alan Young that went around for a 360, got it back going. Let's see what happened here. The 99 washed up the racetrack a little bit, and looks like the number 6 might have pushed the number 99, and the 99 hit 24. Might have been a little bit of a domino effect there in turn number 1, but it looks like all the cars getting away with no damage. So that's the good news from this one. You see the 24 just going for a spin. Great recovery there to keep that car going straight right up in front of Jason Stewart in that number 1 machine. He was involved in that last accident. Or Greg, why don't we let's see if we can possibly dial up the number 29 machine of Will Worsler. I'm sure he won't be all too happy. You know what? I do not see Will Worsler in the Discord anymore, so I think he has taken it to the garage and has worked his way out of Martinsville, Virginia. But Greg, why don't we step away for just a brief moment and get a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back here to Glassdoor Brewing 200.
Every day in business starts with a number. Output, productivity, efficiency, all measured in numbers, because data drives decisions. And if fire or water damage strikes, the numbers for your business can slow or even stop. Unless you know this one, 1-800-SERVPRO, the number 1 choice in commercial cleanup and restoration.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, folks, welcome back to Martinsville, Virginia, the Glassdoor Brewing 200. We're getting back to green flag here in just about a lap time from now. The number 73 of Jonathan Holstein still leading the way, but Greg, boy oh boy, the number 50 of Bouchard was almost to the race lead when that caution flag came.
He was about 3 inches or so from having the race lead before that caution came out, Peter. So it'll be interesting to see what he does on the outside here, because now he's in the unpreferred lane, and there you see right there on that restart, Jonathan Holstein able to get out front. He's got David Washington, who's been the dominant car so far. Boy, Bouchard won in that inside lane, and he chopped the nose off of David Washington, and I don't think our Bolton is going to appreciate that very much.
No, and oh boy, they're all stacking. Oh, caution out of turn number 2. I think it might be Jay Crable. And there was chaos happening in turn number 3 and 4, but I believe Crable and the number 87 might have come to a stop coming out of turn number 2 in the 87 Glassdoor Brewing machine. We'll see this on the replay. Oh, yep, just got loose coming out of turn number 2. Got a little bit of rear end damage, I do believe. But that number 87 machine bringing out the yellow once again. And folks, we've made it to the halfway distance here in the Glassdoor Brewing 200.
We need the kazoo for this accomplishment.
Yeah, we still have cars out there with no damage, so that's good news for them. But you see, Crable got it going pretty straight. I'm a little disappointed there in the iRacing flagman because we had the same thing happen with the number 6 machine, Jared Haggerty, a couple laps ago, and they kept it green flag. Well, not this time. Caution flag back in the air here. There we go. Let's see if we can dial up number 29 of Will Worcester for a quick word. Will Worcester, they're back under yellow. It seems like it's been a chaotic night out there here at Martinsville and a rough night for the Sliced Porcupines machine. Tell us a little bit about what's going on out there, because it looks like it's crazy.
I mean, it is crazy. It's it's a tough track. It's for whatever reason, this is probably the toughest it's been as far as staying consistent. And it's loose in, it can be loose off. It depends on how you're driving it. And I obviously didn't do what I needed to do to be consistent and keep from dooring folks going on the inside. I kept overcooking it. I couldn't. It's very hard to hit a rhythm if you're not out front. When you're in traffic, everybody accordions, and so you're not trying to hit the guy in front of you, and then it breaks open, and then it's up to you to stop yourself. You don't have anything to go by, and next thing you know, you're driving into the side of Jason Stewart and getting parked.
If were you able to see if it was a full moon out there or not? Because I'll tell you what, it seems like everyone's racing like a pack of dogs out there, howling around this racetrack. It does look pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean it could be fun, but it's hard to have fun when you're spinning. I don't know what the math would say, but gotta be 60 or 70% under caution here. It's not making for a good race. But and like I said, I didn't do anything to help that out. But I mean, it is what it is, and there will be better nights for WWR and for me. But I'm just hoping one of my guys can do some good, make something good come out of it tonight.
All right. Well, we're about to go back to green, so we'll let you go. Best of luck there, bud.
Yeah, I appreciate the chat, guys. You have a good night.
All right. Well, that was Will Worcester. Put that number 29 machine on the garage, heading out of Martinsville. The pace truck has headed down pit road once again. We're about to go back to green, and it is the number 73 machine of Jonathan Holstein that leads the field back to the green flag. A hard-charging number 50 machine right behind him. A little bit of connection issues there on the number 50. Just blinked out there for just a brief moment. And now, Bouchard around the outside trying to get the power down. You see him slip sliding around. He's opened up the door for David Washington, who's led by far the most laps here tonight. And Washington now going for the second position.
Washington trying to get back around Bouchard. Oh, contact from behind Bouchard. Going around after contact with Woody Mahan. And we're back under the yellow once again, Peter.
Yeah, number 50 machine looks like he might have kept it off the outside. Well, I'm not 100% sure, but there was definitely contact with the number 84 there, Woody Mahan. Getting word that he definitely made contact with the outside wall, as you saw right there. So definitely some rear end damage on that number 50 machine, but that will put Bouchard well back in the field. I'm just wondering, maybe he thought he was clear here, Greg, and he just decided to cut down the racetrack, and the number 84 didn't have enough time to react. I'm not quite sure, but irregardless, that's kind of that accordion effect that the number 29 machine of Will Worcester was just mentioning.
Yeah, cautions breeding cautions once again here at Martinsville, Peter. We're just past the halfway point, and that's a big one, though, because Bouchard was working his way up through the field. Remember, going back to the previous restart, he did the same move to David Washington, and Washington had to check up, and he gave him a bump going into turn number 3. Wasn't too happy about it. So Bouchard pulling the same move there, perhaps on Mahan, and Mahan just had nowhere to go and ran into the back of Bouchard, and suddenly one of the fastest cars on the track, and a guy who had patiently been working his way through the field now has to do it all over again from near the back.
I'm taking a quick peek at some of the cars out there. There aren't all too many cars without too much damage, but that man right there is one of them. That's the number 8 of Jimmy McKee. Remember, had a great run last week at Dover in the Dirty Bird Sim Racing 150, getting himself a podium, and here once again keeping that car nice and clean. Another driver keeping things nice and clean. 2 cars behind him in the number 72, Michael Krobach. Haven't mentioned Krobach here all too much tonight in the HPPsimulations.com Ford, but that number 72 machine nice and clean. Not a scratch on it so far. I'm sure Michael will hope to keep it that way. Looks like the outer race officials have deemed that accident at fault on the number 84. So Woody Mahan will slide all the way back to the back of the field, and he will be tail end of the longest line there. You see him stop down there, the field all going by, just agonizing for that number 84 machine. We'll have to see if he can work his way back up to the front. Looks like Brian Yazik in the number 55 is another one with a clean race car. Crowbox teammate in the HPVsimulations.com Ford. Remember, he's in the top 10 in points, is Brian Yazik. Trying to put together a good run once again.
Brian Yazik missed last week's race due to connection issues going on. So, he's looking for a bounce back. He had the connection issues right at the start of qualifying. So the 55 definitely is one who's looking for a bounce back.
Got to give a shout out to Kevin Finn in the chat. Ronnie Smith saying, come on, number 83 and 02. Of course, that is Greg Evans and Sam Crow, two teammates. But the green flag is about to come in the air here at Martinsville Speedway. And there we go. Jonathan Holstein will lead them off into turn number 1 once again. Remember, Holstein's on a little bit older tires, about 20 laps older tires than David Washington, but so far he's been able to use that track position to his advantage and stay in front of the hard charging number 89 machine, who has led most of this race. Riding on board with the 52 machine. Now we jump up to the number 83 machine. Greg Evans trying to get his way back towards the front. He got shuffled back a couple of restarts ago. He's in the fifth spot now.
Peter. Out for the lead. Oh, Washington was to the door and slid up the track, but Holstein able to get out of the way, and Washington not after making the slide up the track in the big push in 1 and 2. Gets the lead, and the perfect time as the caution's out one.
Oh man, we got a scuffle on the front stretch. We got 3 cars all packed together. The 22 Michael Whiting still turned around in the Brookside Equipment Sales Ford. Looks like the number 17 of Richard Stallings also might have got a piece of it. Let's see what happens here on the replay. My goodness, that is Richard Fletcher in the 83 machine going up and over, it looks like. Bouchard in the 50 getting a big chunk of it. Let's see if that was Fletcher. Here we go, on board with the number 41 machine. This is Tim Knott. Couldn't quite tell if it was Tim Knott or Fletcher that went for a ride. Looks like the 41 made it through up to 9. Here we go. Here's the 43 of Fletcher, one of the other sliced porcupines machines. Let's see if we can get this onboard dialed up for you. Here we go. He's actually right behind Tim Knott. So this must have been about where it all went down. Got the 22 right behind him of Whiting. You see, oh man, just got a bump coming out of the corner. Maybe couldn't get the power down in time, but got a heavy hit. Lots of damage to Richard Fletcher. It's a bit of a shame for Fletcher because he had a pretty good run going in that sliced porcupines machine. Here we go, on board with the number 17 of Stallings, and Greg, there's just nowhere for him to go.
And that's the problem with the accordion effect that we've been talking about. Nowhere to go at this tight racetrack, and boy, just how scary is that when you're in the driver's seat, Peter? Me and you both have had that experience at other short tracks, I'm sure, as you're just riding along, trying to mind your own business, and all of a sudden, there's a big roadblock, and you are carrying a lot of speed, and you have no...
Oh man, that angle there kind of paints a different picture of that accident, and I'll tell you what, a lot of cars receiving damage from that one. Shane Parrish in the number 81 Surf Pro machine getting his damage repaired as much as possible. But I'll tell you what, we have had 69 caution laps here in the first 116 laps of the race. David Washington, once again your race leader, has the fastest lap of the race and has also led the most laps. So a great run for that number 89 machine of David Washington. Hasn't had all too many starts this year in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. But, I mean, so far, it's been a great run for the number 89.
But he does have a little bit of rear-end damage from some of those restarts, Peter. Not too worried about it because we've seen it all day. The short track, the damage hasn't really affected anyone. Case in point, John Jenkins back up to second with significant damage on the back of the 7. But it's not the cleanest race that David Washington has wanted, but he has been far and away the fastest car here in Martinsville, Virginia today, as he's back where he started the race on the pole with John Jenkins, who is outside now. Look who's crept his way up to the third. Harnish, Jordan Harnish. We have not talked about him a lot today, and here he is up in the third spot, very quietly working his way back up there, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was going to mention the same thing to you about Jordan Harnish, that he has snuck up there into the top 5. It's nice and quietly, but the green flag is back in the air. Once again, David Washington playing the games on the restart. Now he has John Jenkins in the number 7 to contend with. Remember, Jenkins has had a roller coaster of a night, missed a couple shifts earlier, sent him well back in the pack, sent him back to 18th, and here he is back inside the top 5, trying to get the lead away from Washington as he shuts the door on Jordan Harnish. Let's see if we go back a little bit further. Here we go, on board with the number 51 of Mitch Brown. He's running in the 6th position, right behind Grant Brown. So we got a couple of Browns in 5th and 6th right now. Great to see that. You just love to see both Mitch Brown and Grant Brown having good runs. And there's some chaos happening a little bit further back in the back. It looks like 3 wide for a brief moment. I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. It looks like back around Adam Jersky. And we do have Mark Risa in the chat saying 71 just biding his time. Takes patience to craft a cheesecake and for a cheesecake machine to get to the front. And that beef Jersey's Cheesecakes number 71 machine definitely starting to make some noise here. Just made a pass for the 13th position. And that beef Jersey's car started in 15th, so he's about where he qualified. Slowly making some headway towards the front. Here we got a battle side by side with the number 34 machine, Kelsey Rogers, and the number 8 of Jimmy McKee. McKee trying to keep that momentum rolling from a great run last week at Dover. But Jordan Harnish isn't going anywhere in the number 32 machine. Big, almost spin. Big save by the number 8 machine of McKee in the number 8 machine. He was completely out of shape on the backstretch. I thought he was going to lose this here, Greg, because watch how much this number 8 machine fishtails on the backstretch.
Wow. A little bit of contact there from, I believe, the 46 of Stouffer as well.
Yeah, so Jimmy McKee's got some rear end damage now, which is a shame because we were just talking about the fact that he was one of the few cars out there without a scratch on it. Well, that has come to an end, but not too much damage.
And
now Michael Krobach.
Another shame, Peter, with the 8 car, because he's paying tribute to series director Jim Foose on his birthday. He's running that same paint scheme that Foose ran in the All-Star race, and it was one of the last cars to not have any damage on it, but now the 8 car's got some damage. That's a tough break, as we see a battle going on between a couple of modifieds back here, Stouffer and Crow. This is for position, mind you, still on the lead lap. 13th place on the line there as Jason Stewart goes for a slide behind them, but these two modifieds you see here going into turn number 1 right now, they are not only battling for position, they are on the lead lap, not too far out of the top 10 either. That's the beauty of Martinsville.
Yeah, you don't need all the fenders to be fast. That is for sure. We caught a quick peek of Jason Stewart in the bright blue and green number 1 machine. He's starting to work his way back up through the field. He's up to the 17th position after being involved in a spin not all too long ago, right there in front of the number 99 of Clarence Bonner. Got glass door Brewing on the hood of that machine. And right behind the number 24 of Alan Young, who had a great run going in the early part of this race. There's Mark Cohn. Haven't mentioned him here tonight in the SimLab machine, but the caution flag has been thrown once again. We'll see what this caution has come out for. We do see Brad Lee going slow. Maybe it was the number 14 machine. Let's see if we can dial this one up. Ooh, the 88 there of Adams to his inside. And that's a little bit of contact between those two cars, and both of those cars have got a significant amount of damage here tonight. And Brad Lee was able to save it, keep it going. Maybe a little bit of contact with Travis McDaniel right there on the back end of this. But you see from Brad Lee's perspective, just didn't really know much until he was halfway around. We'll have to see how the officials call that, see if one of these drivers will get an end of longest line penalty. But nonetheless, we're back under the caution flag. Let's see if we can kind kind of reset the top 5 for you. David Washington is leading the race. John Jenkins in the number 7 machine, Roller Coaster Night. He's back into 2nd. Jordan Harnish still in 3rd. Greg Evans in 4th. Grant Brown 5th. Mitch Brown 6th. Doug Mullins in the number 18. Guys, we were mentioning at the start of this race how cool that number 18 scheme looked. A Slice Perky Pines Will Warsaw racing machine. Well, he's lost his nose, but he's in the 7th position with like a modified, so a good run for him. We have had a couple takers on pit road here, Greg, and this is an interesting call. We saw how it almost paid off for the number 72 machine, pitting just a little bit earlier, number 73 machine of Holstein. He's now well back in the pack, down in 25th, but I do believe that, trying to see, yeah, it looks like he's the number 73 of Holstein and is well back in the pack. I'm not quite sure exactly why. There's the number 50 of Bouchard. Looks like he's going to go a lap down. He's got caught at the end of pit road, and that number 50 not going to be his night after getting involved in an accident right up there at the front of the pack. But that man right there, David Washington, it's been his night so far. He's led a good portion of this race.
He has led a great portion of this race. Pretty much far and away the most laps, as he may already have the most laps led locked up. I'm not quite sure on that, Peter, but I gotta say this. One thing that I am very grateful for right now is that me and you and Carlos, we're broadcasting this race and we don't work in the body shop at these teams' repairs, because they would have a lot of work to do at the conclusion of this one, the amount of carnage that we've seen tonight.
Yeah, I think we saw from that graphic that just popped up on the screen, this is caution number 15 on the night. So if that graphic is to be believed, this is the 15th time the flagman has had to whip around that yellow flag, and hopefully he can whip out the green flag for the 16th time here in just a moment, as we hopefully will get back to green flag action, because the pace truck is headed down onto pit road. The race will be back in the hands of David Washington, coming down at a slow 45 miles an hour before he hits the loud pedal, and there he goes. Green flag back in the air here at Martinsville. They're side by side off its turn number 1.
That was the best run on the outside that we've seen since the initial start. John Jenkins did a great job hanging with Washington here. Still is hanging with him as he's got the outside lane cooking right now, but Washington able to get a good run through 3 and 4 there, and here comes Harnish to the inside of Jenkins. So David Washington back out front.
I was watching some of the chaos towards the back, and Michael Krobach was 3 wide for a brief moment, as David Washington in that number 89 machine leading the way still. Oh, here comes Jordan Harnish. Harnish just took the 2nd spot away from the number 7 of Jenkins. So great job by Jordan Harnish to get that machine into the 2nd position. We'll have to see if he can close in on your race leader of Washington here as these laps tick away. 62 laps to go this time by for your race leaders. And Greg Evans got himself up into 3rd. Battle for the 4th position. Right back there, the 52 of Grant Brown to the inside of John Jenkins. And Jenkins all of a sudden looks like he's stuck on the high groove. We saw him make some moves on that high line earlier, but it seems like on this restart, or maybe the current state of the tires or the track conditions, remember it is cooling down because of the night conditions here at Martinsville, that outside line just doesn't look as strong anymore.
Yeah, the outside lane caution is out. 16th time.
Oof, cars around on the front stretch. Tim Knott in the 41, 66 of Edward Bray. And once again, we have a little bit of a parking lot here at Martinsville. Ooh, Edward Bray almost making contact there with Tim Knott. Let's see if we can go back and see what happened here. Ooh, the 41 of Knott and Holstein in the 73 making contact with one another. That's not what you want to see if you're any of those cars. And look at Tim Knott. He's just trying to stay in a spot and have everyone go around him. Let's see if we can sort this one out from the helicopter cam here at Martinsville Speedway. Just coming out of the corner, just got really tight out there, and I think the 41 expected Holstein to be maybe a little bit closer to the wall, and they just made contact there. Oof. A little bit of contact there between Michael Whiting and Tim Knott right on the back end of that accident. You saw Lee Staples down there in the 26 machine. He just kind of came to a halt and came to a stop. Probably a good move there. Here we go, on board with Mark Cohen, and ooh, just trying to scoot through that one. Made a little bit of contact there with the 73 machine in the 6. Not much he could do. Tough break there for that machine. In fact, Mark Cohen is on pit road right now in the Sim Lab Ford Mustang. He's going to hit his pit box. Very difficult here at Martinsville to not lose a lap under pacing, especially if you're on the back half of the pack. These laps tick away oh so quickly when you're on pit road. In fact, we got a couple cars right now fighting for their lives to stay on the lead lap, like the 17 of Stallings. He looks like he might just beat the pit road exit sign and stay on the lead lap, but the 14 Brad Lee looks like he will lose another lap. It's a tough break for that car. Just very tough, very interesting racetrack, very unique racetrack here in the iRacing simulation. Not too many racetracks where you come down pit road and actually lose a lap even with a nice solid pit stop.
Yeah, and of course these drivers are trying to fix as much damage as they possibly can under these yellows with no fast repairs. But Peter, these guys are not really practicing social distancing very well tonight.
No, social distancing is not a thing on the racetrack. Very excited to see NASCAR back this week. Finally, we have some sports on ESPN to talk about, not some other types of reruns of Sports Center or reruns of the World Series from 1987. I don't know who won the World Series that season, so if you do, good job. Maybe that's a question for the chat. Who won the World Series in 1987? But I'll tell you what, it's yeah, Google knows everything, literally. I made a joke. There was that Google commercial in the Super Bowl where the old guy, you know, he keeps asking questions about his former wife who passed away, I believe, and I made some type of joke to the effect of Google knows everything. You don't have to tell Google to remind yourself. It already knows it because it already knows everything. So anyway, we're about to go back to Green Flag Racing here at Martinsville. Still waiting to find out who won the 1987 World Series. But we'll find out here in just a little bit because we are back to Green Flag Racing. Let's see what Jordan Harnish can do in that number 32 machine. He's going to cut down in front of the number 83 of Greg Evans. Great move there by Harnish, but look at Grant Brown around the outside of that number 52. Let's see if he can make things difficult for these drivers in the 52. Gotta say, great looking paint scheme on that number 52 here tonight, but he doesn't look like he can hold on to that spot. He's going to cut right down in front of John Jenkins. Jenkins has to slam on the brakes there. A little bit of an accordion back behind him, but they all sort things out. But the caution flag is back in the air. We got a car around. I do believe it is Troy Haight in the number 28. P&N Water Filter Chevy Camaro has gone around for a half spin. Doesn't look like there's any more damage on that car, so let's see if we can figure out what happened to Troy in that car. And it looks like he's on the back side of this screen. Yeah, there he is. It was already in motion when we jumped to that replay. Let's see if we can go back maybe just a little bit more.
And Peter, this is a tough break for Troy Haight. Remember the run he had last week at Dover. He had such a strong performance in that number 28. Contact with the one of Jason Stewart looks like to be the cause of that one. I lost my train of thought there, but he had such a strong run at Dover last week, and to have a night like this after such a strong run the week before, that's got to be a tough pill to swallow for that number 28 of Troy Haight.
Keeping an eye, Greg, on drivers who might have pitted recently. Brian Yazik in the 19th position right now. Looks like he's showing as 7 laps or so since he last pitted. So perhaps Yazik came down to take some fresh tires on that car, maybe just trying to get off strategy a little bit. I kind of was expecting to see more cars on pit road to get a fresh set of tires here, as we now have 51 laps to go as they cross the start-finish line. So getting closer to the end of tonight's Glassdoor Brewing 200. Why don't we step away for just a brief moment, maybe get a word from Serve Pro, who are on the leading car of David Washington.
Every day in business starts with a number. Output, productivity, efficiency, all measured in numbers. because data drives decisions. And if fire or water damage strikes, the numbers for your business can slow or even stop. Unless you know this one, 1-800-SERVPRO, the #1 choice in commercial cleanup and restoration.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, folks, welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. You haven't missed anything. The pace truck is headed down pit road as we speak. We're about to go back to green flag action, led by David Washington, and he leads them down oh so slowly. Kind of brake check the whole field, and look at the accordion effect still rippling its way through the field. They get everything sorted out. Harnish is going to slot down into the second position. Grant Brown around the outside. He's lost his rear bumper in that number 52 machine. But I'll tell you what, that really slow restart there, I'm surprised that didn't lead to an accident because there was so much accordioning happening throughout the field.
Yeah, they are lucky that the caution didn't come out there. And that goes back to what we talked about earlier, Peter. David Washington is trying different strategies on different restarts to try to catch him sleeping and throw him off and make it to where they can't predict what he's going to do. And that was just another case of it. That was the slowest restart we've had all day as the caution is out.
Yeah, Christopher in the number 46 machine went around on the backstretch. Looks like he's taken a tow back to the garage. Let's see exactly what happened here with this replay. Had the 0-2 Sam Crow to his inside, but Crow had nothing to do with it. Does a little bit too much on the loud pedal, and then the 46 went around, and unfortunately Christopher has taken that machine to the garage here tonight. Let's go on board with the 46 here, going off into turn number 1 here, running a little bit high. And looks like he just went around right there. Looks like no other cars involved in that one. So that's good news. Just a single car accident. But bad news is we are back under caution here. We're down to 27 cars on the lead lap, folks. We'll probably get a lucky dog. Not quite sure who that is yet. We'll have to wait and see if we can figure that one out here. But once again, we are restricted to 45 miles back behind that pace truck. And no one coming down pit road yet. Some interesting calls out there here at Martinsville tonight. So, Greg, laps winding down here. You think David Washington will be able to hold on for this win, or do you think we haven't seen the end of this battle for the win?
Oh, I think we haven't seen the end of the battle yet. Eric Haggerty going by to get the lucky dog. But, Peter, remember what we talked about earlier where David Washington led far and away the most laps? We forgot to factor in the pace truck on this one. He has led just about as many laps as Washington has here tonight. So it's between those two for most laps led. Washington, though, has clinched most laps led for reality's sake in this one. But Jordan Harnish on his outside having a great run. We haven't mentioned him a whole lot tonight, but he has been very quiet in the top 5 for a majority of the second half of this race. Started in the 11th spot, up in the second spot. Greg Evans started outside pole, led the first lap, has been trying to get back there since.
And let's see if we can get a quick word with the number 32 machine of Jordan Harnish. Let's see exactly what he's doing behind the wheel. Jordan Harnish, Peter Short 3 YTV booth. You got a copy?
10-4, bud.
Well, I'll tell you what, pretty good night for that number 32 machine, currently sitting in the second position. That number 89, though, in front of you, has led a lot of laps here tonight. He's playing some funky games on these restarts. How difficult is it to get going, especially with the amount of wheel spin you might be getting?
The first time I restarted beside him wasn't too bad. That last time was a little more difficult, especially getting run over from behind, everyone thinking we were going. But other than that, not too bad. Hoping for a better start this time.
We've heard tonight that the cars are a little bit tricky to drive. Is that the case?
Nah, this thing.
All right, well, we'll let you get back to it, and best of luck. All right, well, that was the number 32 of Jordan Harnish. And we'll, like I said, we'll let him get back to it because the pace truck is now on pit road. And David Washington will lead us back to the green flag. You see Harnish trying to pinch him down a little bit down there, trying to keep him down on that inside groove. And there we go, 89 on the loud pedal. Look, Washington kind of jumped all the way down to the inside.
Wow.
A little bit of a nudge there. And Washington's going to hold on to the lead. Harnish snuck down in behind the number 89 of Washington.
I don't know if Washington spun the tires there. He did that on purpose, but he came up right in front of the 32, just in the nick of time to avoid getting hit by the 32. That was an impressive job by both Washington and Harnish there to not have any contact. There's John Jenkins goes for a slide in turn number 2. Everyone's able to avoid him, but Grant Brown is going to get the position. Grant Brown, he is, I won't call that a modified. I don't know what you would call what the 52 is right now, but he is up in the 4th position in whatever that is.
Yeah, he got no rear end on that machine. Same thing with Jimmy McKee there in the number 8 machine. He's riding in the 8th spot in the number 8 machine. So McKee's starting to work his way forward after having some issues. And look at the Beef Jersey's Cheesecakes number 71 machine of Adam Jersey. He's baking that cheesecake, and folks, he's now inside the top 10. Great run for him. The timer is almost done on that cheesecake. We'll have to see just what type of cheesecake it is at the end of the night. Is it a strawberry cheesecake or a turtle cheesecake or whatnot? But Adam Jersey now inside the top 10. Great run for him. Michael Krobach sitting in 10th right now. Woody Mahan in the 84 machine as, a little bit of a nudge. Doug Mullins goes for a slide.
John Jenkins just pounded the wall off of turn number 2. That's going to open the door for Mitch Brown in the 51. That was a vicious shot to John Jenkins, and that may be what ends the opportunity at a win here for John Jenkins, because now he's stuck on the outside. Mitch Brown's going by him, and boy, look at this on the front stretch.
Yeah, there's some craziness happening out there on the racetrack for sure. A little bit of 3 wide there on the front stretch. I almost saw Doug Mullins. He got a shot from John Broussard in the number 53 machine. Haven't really talked about John Broussard here tonight, but he's running in the 14th position. 13th position right now as he's trying to get around Alan Young in the 24 car. So pretty good run for Broussard here tonight. Got, of course, the Marine Corps on the hood. Pretty good looking ride, that number 53 machine. There's the 8 of McKee. And back up at the front, the 83 Greg Evans all over the back bumper of Jordan Harnish. How long can Harnish hold on to that second spot? The gap for the race lead has ballooned up to about a half second, and caution flag is out as I say that. So there goes that half second lead. Brad Lee in the 14 machine. Looks like he got a piece of the wall in turn number 1 and 2. Let's see what happened here. Running with the 26 of Lee Staples there through turn number 3 and 4. Then off, looks like he might have not been all too happy with that 26 machine, because looks like he just drove into the back of Lee Staples' step tire Chevy Camaro. I wasn't quite sure if that was a little bit of displeasure, or might have just got on the brakes a little bit late, because right into the back bumper of Staples' machine.
Peter, are you saying tempers may be flaring on a short track?
Never.
Never.
Never
I've never
have.
seen that in my life.
Never have. I have definitely seen some tempers flare at my local short track, I'll tell you that much. I've seen people get out of cars, people try to throw punches and all that stuff. Luckily, they can't throw punches here on a virtual racetrack. Of course, I don't know, with the amount of simulation iRacing has, maybe they'll throw in a little boxing simulator as well.
Aunt Kathy remembers Labor Day at Hermiston Raceway last September, I'm sure. I can't remember if she was there or not, but I know she's heard the story of what happened there last year. Yeah, nothing major, just, big old fight that led to the authorities being called, and we couldn't leave the track till 2 in the morning. Nothing.
Okay, stop the press, guys. Mark Grisa has told us what cheesecake Adam Jersey is baking.
I'm in.
And it's a peanut butter chocolate cheesecake.
Oh, can that be delivered to Washington, please? I'm in.
Yeah, we'll take one in Miami, one in Texas, one in Washington, and while we're at it, we'll get some of that Glassdoor Brewing beer to wash it all down with. How about that? Maybe a stout will go well with that peanut butter chocolate cheesecake. That kind of sounds good.
That
But I'll tell
brewery
you
is
what,
6
folks.
hours from my house. That brewery is 6 hours from my house, Peter. I may be able to make that work out here sooner than later.
Well, there you go. Go get yourself some glass door beer and some of their different types. Go check them out on Untapped or Porcupines for sure. See if you can get yourself some of the Glassdoor Brewing beer, especially if you're in the northwest portion of the United States. But the Pace Truck lights still twinkle out there. It's coming around once again. Yeah. And if you're over 21, Mr. Producer has to jump in and say, of course, drink responsibly, folks. And the Pace Truck lights have finally turned off, so we'll get set to go back to green flag racing. We have less than 30 laps to go. It'll be a 28-lap shootout here in just a lap's time. Hopefully we can stay green flag from here. Richard Fletcher in the number 43 machine. He's trying to get out there at the front of the pace car. In the 28th position, currently being shown as the last car on the lead lap. Pace Truck diving onto pit road once again. We'll go once again, green flag here at Martinsville Speedway, and there goes David Washington. And David Washington, he jumped really early there. He was still in the middle of turn number 3 and 4 when he put the power down. And that's going to scoot away from the field. Now he's up to already about a half-second lead, so that recovers the lead that he had before that caution came out. First side-by-side action is between Kelsey Rogers in the 34 and Mitch Brown in the 51. Mitch on the inside of Kelsey. And Kelsey Rogers in that number 34 machine. He needs a pretty good run. He's just had some bad luck recently here in Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. Really looking to bounce back with a solid run here tonight. And I gotta say, for David Washington, who's leading the race, folks, his finishes so far this year in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series, 31st, 36th, 35th, and 36th. So he's just looking for his first top 30 on the season, and it might be his first win of the season if he can hold on here for the remaining 25 laps.
I think regardless of how this race winds up, he's going to be happy with his performance tonight. But if he can pull this off and get a win, it would be amazing for him. And the race I called last night, actually the Northwest Cup Series race, we saw a first-time winner who was on a incredible bad luck streak as well. He had 6 straight DNFs coming into that race, and he pulled off the win last night. I have a shot here 2 in a row. 71, Adam Jersky. The peanut butter chocolate cheesecake was burnt.
Oh, man. Well, if there's any of that peanut butter chocolate cheesecake left, I will still take a piece. But that is not what you want to see. You just hate to see it. A little bit of contact there in the left rear from Jimmy McKee in the number 8 machine. And the Beef Jerky's cheesecake machine right there for the 02 machine. And unfortunately, getting word that maybe Sam Crow dropped the cheesecake there right when he ran into the front end. You can't drop the cheesecake.
Why would you drop the cheesecake? True story. All right, true story here. I got to tell the story. At Wenatchee Valley Super Oval, we picked up Cheesecake Factory as a sponsor, and it was a running joke with me throughout the course of the season that I would always ask the crowd, hey, first person to buy the announcer a slice of cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory over at the souvenir stand gets a free ticket to the next race. Someone brought me a slice of cheesecake from the stand, so they got free VIP passes to the next race because they actually carried through and brought me cheesecake. So cheesecake at the racetrack, one of my favorite combinations.
Now you know the key, folks, to Greg Rentz's heart. A little bit of cheesecake. He's definitely hurting inside, that is for sure. But the yellow flag back in the air, 21 laps here to go in the Glassdoor Brewing 200. And Greg, we say there's only 21 laps to go, but there's always a possibility of green-white checker, and with the way tonight's looking, there might be a green-white checker or two. They do have 3 attempts here in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series, so we have seen it once this year. We saw it back here in Virginia, actually, at Richmond, where we had all 3 attempts, I do believe, at the green-white checker for the first time in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series history. So that will be something we'll have to keep an eye on. But the Pace Truck lights are still on here at Martinsville.
So I think that'll be the next question we ask the chat. Not will we have a green, white checkered? How many are we going to have? Because the way this race is going, I think it's going to be a thing that happens. So we're going to ask the chat, how many green, white checkers do you think this race is going to have?
No Mercy's chiming in straight away saying 3. Well, we'll see. Got to give a shout out to Aunt Kathy. She answered my question earlier. Who won the 1987 World Series? It was the Minnesota Twins. How the mighty have fallen. I'll tell you what, the pace
There's
truck
the Yankees
lights.
joke in there somewhere.
Oh, right. There's always a Yankees joke somewhere, especially when they're not winning World Series. But the pace truck lights are off. We're going to get set to go back to green. We'll have 18 more circles around this racetrack, hopefully, before the checkered flag is thrown. Will Worcester saying all 3 will be used. Ronnie Smith saying 2. We'll find out. The green flag back in the air. David Washington in the Surf Pro machine trying to clean up here at Martinsville. I'll tell you what, it's been kind of a messy race, but Surf Pro is in the cleaning business, and he wants to clean up and lead these last 18 more markers. The number 83 machine, Greg Evans, going to slot into second here. Harnish is going to slide back to third after that restart. Just lost out that spot to Mr. Greg Evans. Seems like the third place is where you want to be on a restart if you want to at least gain a spot. But, oh man, we're starting to get some cars slip sliding around back here. There's Kelsey Rogers. Looks like here comes the number 7 machine as well. John Jenkins to the inside. What a power move out of the MPI, Max Purpose Innovations, number 7 machine. He's going to get underneath Mitch Brown. Can he take that spot? This is a battle for a top 5 position, and that's first and second in points there, Greg. John Jenkins first in points coming into tonight. Mitch Brown second in points.
Yeah, point shakeup perhaps here with this one, as 2 of the top drivers in the series are having kind of quiet nights here. Jenkins and Brown, and Mitch Brown, of course, sporting that new look of the Glassdoor Brewing entry on that number 51 Toyota winner last week at Dover. Very quiet night tonight. Caution's out.
Caution is out, and it's one of the other drivers who had a very clean race car, unfortunately. Michael Krobach, the HPPsimulation.com Ford Mustang, going around in turn number 1 and 2. That bright blue machine, let's see what happened here. Had the 24 of Alan Young underneath them. And it looks like the number 6 of Haggerty might have given him a little bit of a nudge. So another cheesecake on the floor, folks. And you just hate to see it.
The Cheesecake Factory is closed down, Peter. Adam Jersky has retired from the race.
Oh, man. That is something everyone hates to see. I was in the mood for even a beef jerky cheesecake. Whatever a beef cheesecake is like. I don't know. But after tonight, I'm getting quite hungry myself, just thinking about all this cheesecake.
I almost bought cheesecake
Anyway,
for today, and now I'm really wishing I did.
Yeah, get one of those cheesecake samplers, you know? You got a little bit of turtle, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Got some
Yeah,
fruit on there,
anyway.
some chocolate. Yeah, it was one of those.
Oh, that's great when you try the cheesecake. Yeah.
Oh, I
hear
love
ya.
it. You
I
only
hear
get this on 3YTV, ladies and gentlemen. This is great.
Well, the laps are still counting down, and for you Michael Krobach fans, that number 72 machine will now be scored back in the 26th position, last car on the lead lap. Looks like Brad Lee in the number 14 machine is the first car 1 lap down as of right now, but as I say that, he's been waved around the pace car, so he will be the lucky dog under this caution. Looks like we'll have about a 10-lap shootout once we do go back to green flag action. Will Worcester saying, who else is craving cheesecake about now? Thanks, guys. Yeah, I know. Once you've got cheesecake on the mind, it's difficult to get off the mind. How about that? But that little pace truck driver, I think the pace truck driver has led over half of this race now, which is pretty crazy. Let's see if we can dial up one of these drivers that's still in this race. About, boy, there's quite a few to choose from. Let's see if we can dial up someone towards the top of the charts. And we'll see if we can dial that up if we get a next caution, because I think we're about to go 1 to green here. Looks like about a 9-lap shootout. These laps under pacing do go by fairly quickly, so Pace car lights, they're still on there, Mr. Producer Man. So, let's see if we can dial up John Jenkins. How about that from the Momentum Sim Racing team? John Jenkins, Peter Short, the 3Y TV booth. You got a quick moment? Oh, we're going back green. Sorry. I don't know why it was off. Don't think you're live.
We're back green. Not sure we are live. There we go. There's where the situation came out.
Oh my gosh.
To leave the feed. Oh, and we're back yellow. What happened this time?
Well, I think, yeah, I think John Jenkins in that number 7 machine. I feel really bad for John Jenkins because we thought we had an extra lap there of pacing, and I think that one might have been on 3Y TV because he wasn't paying attention. I feel really bad about that one. And I just don't think he was in the right mind. Sorry about that, John. That's a tough break. Even we've got a caution on us here tonight. So John Jenkins there in the number 7 machine is now going to be having an end the longest line penalty. That's kind of on us though, folks. So tough break there. As we're going to go back to caution here. And John Jenkins, yeah, a very tough break for your points leader. And the pace truck back out there here on 3Y TV at the 200 lap race, and we might get our first attempt at a green-white checker here, Greg. I think the lap counter will be such that we do get a green-white checker.
Yeah, it's going to be close here, Peter. So this may or may not even be a natural green-white checkered, which does not count towards the official green-white checkered counts, but we'll see how it all unfolds as possibly some cars thinking about, nope, that was just Ty Hester coming through. Ooh, he gives a little bit of a shot to the 89 on his way through there. So Ty Hester in the 36 making his way through. So we reset here once again on beginning lap 196 and top 5 rundown. David Washington, Greg Evans, Jordan Harnish, Grant Brown, Mitch Brown. Rounding out your top 5 as we are going to take another break real quick.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Every day in business starts with a number. Output, productivity, efficiency, all measured in numbers, because data drives decisions. And if fire or water damage strikes, the numbers for your business can slow or even stop. Unless you know this one, 1-800-SERVPRO, the #1 choice in commercial cleanup and restoration.
All right, folks, we are live this time, and the pace truck lights are off here up at the front, and it is David Washington, and we're going to get an extra lap here of caution because the back half of the field isn't quite lined up, so this will be the first attempt at a green-white checker here, and I don't know how this is all going to wind up, but it has been a crazy night here. First night, as what is the pace truck doing? That's a 4X on the pace truck. Not even the pace truck knows what's going on here tonight, as the pace truck just decides to monster jam over the wall. See if we can get a replay of this one. Boy, oh boy.
That's what I wanted.
There it goes, just through the wall. But let's go back live because the pace truck is back on pit road. Hopefully, he doesn't come out onto the racetrack this time like he did last time, because the green flag is in the air. David Washington leading us down the front stretch into turn number 1. And David Washington gets a little bit of a shot from Greg Evans, a little bit of a bump here as we're down to 2 laps to go. Rubbin's racing, Greg.
Just a little bump from Evans, nothing major here. We're coming by. If we get the white flag, this race will be official. We will. Last lap of the race, and David Washington, Greg Evans, nose to tail through 1 and 2.
That number 89 machine's led most of this race, and now he is just 2 turns away from getting the checkered flag. And coming out of turn number 4, David Washington picks up his first win in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. What a dominating win. We got Rick back in the pack of the field. The 27, the 41, and the 8. Jimmy McKee going around. And boy, oh boy, that is going to be not the end the number 8 machine was looking for. Let's see if we can see what happened there on that number 8 machine. Because boy, oh boy, just went around there and tough break. All that chaos happening to the line. Interesting to see how that all sorted out when we see the finishing results, but there are still cars coming down pit road. I'm sure a lot of drivers will just be happy to see Martinsville in the rearview mirror here tonight.
Yeah, definitely an interesting for Peter. And David Washington, he didn't even perform a story donuts because there was enough carnage on the racetrack, I guess, for his liking. So David Washington picking up the win here at Martinsville for his first career victory.
Yeah, and after 4 results of 30 plus place finishes, I gotta say that's pretty good. We got a couple of drivers doing donuts in the infield. How about that? Having a little scuffle after the race. I'll tell you what, that is the NASCAR 2003 when you had the post race and the people were just kind of brawling. Well, that's what we got going on here in the infield at Martinsville, but with their cars. Mitch Brown right now hunting. Oh, he just mowed over some fans. Oh, there's Grant Brown as well. So a couple of the Browns doing the rounds in the infield. They finally coming back out into the racetrack. Here we go. Just scooting through there, turning it into a little bit of a road course and doing a little bit of spelunking here at Martinsville. Martinsville Roval.
Yeah, that's the new Martinsville Roval. We'll go there next year.
Well, we're going to go do a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on 3Y TV.
Life happens everywhere. Like it never even happened, only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and servpro.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
All right, folks, welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. Kind of a long night here tonight. A lot of cautions, but I'll tell you what, it was a pretty exciting finish there in the end with David Washington taking the checkered flag. And I'll tell you what, Greg, I believe you have caught up with tonight's third place finisher, the number 32 of Jordan Harnish.
Yeah, Jordan Harnish, Greg runs 3YTV. You got a copy.
And 4.
Hey, man, you were looking for a bounce back after a couple of rough goes of it the last couple of weeks, and you finally got it, man. 11th to 3rd. What a great performance from.
Yeah, thank you. It's about time I finally put one together. A couple of bad finishes. Tracks I really liked was really disappointing, but coming to Martinsville, I knew I had a good shot at another good run. And qualifying was a little disappointing, starting 11th, but just took my time. Tried to keep the nose clean as long as I could.
Jordan, tell us about the course of the race, because we were keeping our eyes on you. You were very patient and just kind of riding there. At what point did you decide, okay, time to stop being conservative? And what time did you turn the jets on to try to get up there as far as you could and wind up in the...
Really, once I got into second, I decided it was go time. At least try to fight as hard as I could for the lead. 'Cause I knew if I get into the lead, there was a pretty good chance I could take it and run with it. Unfortunately, never got a chance to get into the lead on the short green runs we had, but it was great running with the 89 and the 83. They were all run clean, so it was definitely made it.
Yeah, it was a great race for you tonight, a third here tonight, but that's going to be a huge relief for you to get a top 3 here tonight, especially coming up with another big race here next.
Yeah, it's kind of like the monkeys off the back. Now we can try to get in a rhythm and get going. We've been fast the last couple of weeks, really fast actually, and now it's just time to put some solid finishes together and see if we can climb into the top 20.
All right, well, third place for you. So we know you got some guys you've been waiting a couple of weeks to give thanks to. So who you...
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I got to thank Todd Kirkwood and Dust Devil PCs for the paint scheme and all the help he does for me. Hacksaw PCs for sponsoring the Cup Series. Oh, I'm forgetting more. Mod Chaser Mitch, Patriot Media Solutions, Checkered Flag PCs. I gotta say a shout out to my dad who's watching in Massachusetts. I know I'm forgetting someone else, but that's all I can remember off the top of my head.
Well, that's a third place for you tonight, Jordan. Congratulations on a great run. Third place, Jordan.
Thank you.
And I believe that Peter Short has caught up with second place, Greg.
Thanks for...
Yes, I have caught up with Mr. Greg Evans. I got a hot mic right now, but I'll tell you what, Mr. Evans, you had a fantastic run here tonight. We're challenging all throughout the race in the duct tape number 83. Came up one spot short here tonight, one spot short of your 5th checkered flag of the season, but all in all, fantastic race for you.
Man, it was a really good race. I'd have loved to have got the 5th win, especially after everything from last week happening. But it was a good night. We overcome some not so good times, but we got stuck on the outside quite a bit. I think I counted. I started on the inside maybe 5 times. So to come away with second place with everything that happened tonight, can't be more thankful, and had a good run.
It looked pretty slick out there. We saw a couple of cars definitely struggle with rear grip. How much did you have to play around the brake bias here tonight to kind of get that car tuned to the way you liked it? And how much did you have to think about maybe saving a little bit of tire? We didn't have a lot of green flag running here tonight, but that's always something in the back of the minds of drivers, especially when you come to Martinsville. How can you keep those rear tires underneath you?
Well, I adjusted a brake bias one time. I got a little tight getting in the corner after the damage, so I turned it down just a little bit. After that first round of pit stops, I kind of had in the back of my mind that I was done pitting, but I wanted everybody else to pit, but it just didn't work out tonight. But yeah, it was coming off 4 was really slick. Coming off 2, it wasn't quite as bad, but it was definitely hard to get a run off the corner on anybody.
Yeah, definitely a tough night here tonight. How much do you credit that to running Martinsville at night? This is the first time we've done it here in the American Sim Racing Series Hacksaw PC's Premier Series, and completely different beast, or is it much the same?
It's kind of the same. Of course, being under the lights, everybody's hyped up for that. I think that's kind of why we saw so many cautions. Most of the guys up front were pretty patient with each other. There was a lot of times you had to kind of make room for somebody, and it just, I wish we had some really long green flag runs. I feel like I might have had a chance, depending on that, but unfortunately that's just the way it goes. Martinsville is one of those things where you either have really long green flag runs or you have a bunch of cautions, and tonight was just a bunch of cautions, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, 1 week from now we go to the American Regardless 300 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Much different racetrack than this racetrack. What do you think about going to Charlotte? Of course, you already won at a mile and a half earlier this year at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Somewhat similar. They race quite a bit different. But Charlotte's next week. What are your thoughts?
I'm usually not excited about mile and a half races. But from the All Star race, we got some damage early on and was able to come back and still finish, I think, fourth or fifth. So, hopefully, if we can keep the front end on it and just keep points straight, we'll have a chance at the end there.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck next week. I'm sure before we let you go, you got some shout outs for us, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, guys, I gotta thank you guys for what y'all did for my mom last week with her death. That meant a lot to me and my dad as well. We went back and watched the race, and I really appreciate it. Got to thank Duct Tape and Sure Tape, T-Rex Tape, Carolina Sim Works, iFlag or iRace and iFlag. All those guys. I Can't Design. My teammate Sam Crow, he had a pretty good run going and had some bad luck, and we got some steel horse racing as well. Just like I said, but thank you guys for what y'all did last week. That really meant a lot.
All right. Well, Greg, hope to see you next week. Hopefully you can get that machine up near the front once again for that one. But great run for you here tonight in Martinsville.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
All right. Well, folks, that was your second place finisher, Greg Evans. Unfortunately, it does not look like we have your race winner, driver of the number 89 machine here in Discord with us here tonight. But we do have one driver kind of hanging around, and that would be one of the drivers who had kind of an up-down night, and that, of course, being the number 52 of Grant Brown, always up there near the front. He actually finished this race in fourth, and we'll get a quick word with him. Grant Brown, Peter Short, 3Y booth. You got a quick moment for a word?
Sure thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got a little bit of front end damage. You got a lot of rear end damage, but you come home with a fourth place finish in that Patriot Media Marketing Solutions machine. Tell us a little bit about your race, because it looked pretty crazy up there.
Oh yeah, I was just honestly dodging wrecked cars. People were getting just a little too excited, I feel like, on a lot of those restarts, and just couldn't get a long green flag run in. We were really good on the long runs, kind of struggled on the short runs, especially getting stuck on the outside a lot of the time, but just tried to make the most of it and came home with a lot of damage, but an alright finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming away with a top 5 from this event is just, one of those things that you're probably glad to have it in the rear, even though you got a fourth place finish. But next week we do have Charlotte Motor Speedway, the American Regardless 300, and definitely a different type of racetrack.
Yeah, we'll be going back to the kind of cookie cutter mile and a half. I enjoy the mile and under tracks, so little scared on making my way in through qualifying, especially being in go or go home. But we're going to make the best of it. Hopefully myself and then my teammate Johnny can both get in and make the show like we've been doing the last few.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward to see that car back on the racetrack. Greg, you got any questions for driver of the number 52 machine?
Just how was it wheeling that car throughout the course of the night with all that damage that you had on just from the various accidents and still coming away with a top 5? Just tell us about the roller coaster it was.
It was definitely hard. Most of the damage actually came from just bottlenecks on the restart, so just try to keep the rear tires under it on exit. It was a little loose on exit a corner all race long, so kind of as the track rubbered in, it got a little better, and luckily I didn't have any motor damage, so able to walk away all right, I guess. Cosmetically, a little different of a story, but mechanically we're all right.
All right. Well, before we let you go, you got any shout-outs for us?
Well, thanks to Patriot, who is myself, Jason Stewart at Checkered Flag PCs for building a great PC. Highly recommend him. Hacksaw PCs, Nick Treviglia, great guy. I'd send anybody to him if they need a PC. Make sure to check him out. Mod Chaser Media and Mitch Brown, and then Semporium Race Ready Rigs and Dust Devil PCs with Todd Kirkwood.
All right. Well, Grant, best of luck next week, and maybe we'll get to talk to you then.
Sounds good. You guys have a great night.
All right. Well, folks, that was your fourth place finisher driver of the number 52 machine. And like we said, unable to catch up with tonight's race winner, David Washington in the Surf Pro number 89 machine, but do want to give them a shout out for all they do sponsoring the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. But I think it's about time that we go through tonight's finishing results. And Greg, why don't you take it away?
David Washington with his first career victory in the ASRS series, a dominating performance here at Martinsville tonight. Parks it in victory lane, his first ever win in the series, with Greg Evans in second, Jordan Harnish coming home in the third spot, Grant Brown in fourth, Mitch Brown in fifth, rounding out the top five. Kelsey Rogers comes home sixth, quiet night for him with the top 10. Woody Mahan caught up in an incident earlier with Bouchard, fights back for seventh, with Clarence Bonner, John Broussard, and Doug Mullins rounding out the top 10. Peter.
In the 11th position, the number 11 of Tyler Seville, Christopher Bouchard in the number 50 comes home in 12. Alan Young rebounds back to finish in 13th, the number 24 machine. Jason Stewart, he also rebounds after an early accident to finish 14th. Jonathan Holstein comes home 15th. Brian Yazik comes home 16th. Troy Haight in the number 28 is in 17th. He was without a hood for a good majority of that race. Tim Knott comes home 18th. Pete Baskins, number 19th. Michael Krobach in the number 72 comes home in 20th. And the 21st position, why don't you take away, Greg?
Yeah, Lee Staples comes home in the 21st position after starting 37th, so still advances 16 positions from his starting spot. Good time for him. Jay Crable, 22nd, tonight's sponsor on the hood of the 87, with Richard Fletcher in the 43, another Will Worsler car back in the 23rd position. All three of them started outside the top 30, so good efforts for them to come home right around 20th. Brad Lee and Richard Stallings rounding out the top five. Final two cars on the lead lap were Ed Bray and Jimmy McKee, who was caught up in that big mess coming to the checkered flag in the number 8, paying tribute to Jim Foose. Once again, happy birthday.
Yeah, coming home behind him, of course. Where did you end up at? We had 31st. Yeah, Jared Haggerty in the number 8, the number 6 machine there. Sam Crow right behind him. Adam Jersky dropped the cheesecake, finishing in 33rd. 34th, Michael Whiting. Christopher in 35th. Mark Cohn comes home 36th. I know that's not what Mark Cohn was hoping for in that Sim Lab machine. Ethan Adams comes home 37th. Shane Parrish in 38th. Will Worsler in 39th. And Jake Douglas rounds out tonight's 40-car field. But I'll tell you what, it was an absolute crazy night. Lots of cars with damage out there. But next week, we go to the American Regardless 300. Looking forward to that one. The high bangs of the Charlotte Motor Speedway 1.5 mile cookie cutter. And I think it'll be a much cleaner race next week, Greg.
I'm hoping so, Peter, because a mile and a half is definitely a lot different than a half mile paperclip such as Martinsville. So I'm hoping it's a good race. We saw a great preview of it for the All-Star Showdown a few weeks back. Mitch Brown getting the win there, so no doubt he was looking to carry some momentum into Charlotte next week. So I'm looking forward to another good race next week.
Absolutely. Before we go, I want to give a few shout outs of our own. I want to give our friends over at SimTV thanks for the camera package, and our friend Thomas Morris of OCR TV for helping out with our graphics package as well. They definitely help us out quite a bit, so pretty awesome to have that. But for myself, Peter Short, and Greg Rentz, and of course Carlos Acosta, we bid each and every one of you a good night, and we'll see you for the next round of the Hacksaw PC's Premier Series, the American Regardless 300, same place, same time, next week, right here on 3Y TV. See ya!